For our first story, government is challenging media reports that the International Court of Arbitration at The Hague, the Netherlands, has awarded a $12 million suit against Ghana. According to the publication by the Crusading Guide, Balkan Energy won its suit against the government of Ghana for breach of contract. The Minister of Information, however, says that publication is inaccurate.
A strong rebuttal to the new Crusading Guide story, the Information and Media Relations Minister, who was addressing a joint news conference with the Ministry of Justice, insisted the story was not as straightforward as the publication seeks to suggest.
Given the context in which the publication is being made, the effort of government to deal with the issues of judgment debt, and the perception that some people have tried to create about the effort of the Minister of Justice to ensure that this government does not continue to be bedeviled with judgment debts. In the context of all that, if you read this paper, you will be grossly misled.
Both ministers could, however, not outrightly deny the claims made in the report. The Minister of Justice, in her presentation, explained the rules of arbitration did not permit parties to disclose details of the award given on April 1.
We've just received the award. We are studying the award. Due to certain constraints and rules under the institutional rules, we cannot make the details public yet. What we are assuring you is that Ghana is not down and out. The badge was and is still ours. If an award or a judgment says you should pay a certain amount of money, like he said, you could have even admitted it. And therefore, if that is what you admitted, that is not a decision against you. I'm not saying that that was the case in this case, but it's just an example.
Balkan Energy filed a $2 billion suit against Ghana at The Hague in December 2009 over the breach of a power purchase agreement. The company was contracted in 2007 to refurbish the 125-megawatt Osagefo power barge at Ifaso in the western region. According to the Justice Ministry, government defended the case and also filed a counter-suit against Balkan. Information Minister Mahama maintains whatever has been awarded against Ghana cannot be described as another huge judgment debt.
Well, meanwhile, the Association of Ghana Industries has expressed its disquiet over strategies the country's power producers are adopting to address the current energy crisis. In a meeting with representatives of the VRA, Gridco and ECG to find a way out of the current energy challenges, some members demanded more from the producers. The AGI is of the view the current load shedding exercise, for example, is threatening the survival of their businesses. The president of the association, James Asariaje, also said the country's drive for the consumption of locally manufactured goods may not be achieved if the crisis persists. Well, over 1,000 security officers will be deployed within and outside the Tamale Sports Stadium venue for the upcoming National Delegates Congress of the new Patriotic Party. The Northern Region Police Command says special patrols and police checkpoints will also be mounted at some vantage points and access routes to the Congress grounds. The three-day event, which will see the election of national executives for the NPP, will take place between the 12th and 14th of this month.
Northern Region Police Public Relations Officer ASP Ebenezer Tete, who disclosed this in an exclusive interview with Joy News, said the regional command has been in constant touch with the leadership of the NPP in the region to ensure that adequate security measures are put in place to safeguard the peace and security of the Congress.
We are going to establish police temporary posts. There will be what we call a tent city. We have identified some places that will have a temporary police post there, and their duty will be to be there and receive complaints and other messages from people who participating in the delegate congress. We also have a mobile clinic that will provide medical care to both police officers and delegates who will be taking part in the congress.
NPP Northern Region Secretary Sule Salifu has described the decision of the party to bring the Congress to the Northern Region to honor late Alhaji Aliyu Mahama as historic and one that will bring immense benefits. He said the Regional Organizing Committee has set up committees to ensure that it is able to put in place the best organizational structures for the Congress. He acknowledged the cooperation the party is enjoying from the security services, the Electoral Commission and other organizations in preparation towards the Congress.
We have met the Electoral Commission, Regional Director and his team. We have booked the Tamale Sports Stadium. It has been paid for and we have taken receipts in that regard. We have visited the Tamale Sports Stadium with the police and the Electoral Commission, and they have earmarked places where they will be putting their polling stations, where the delegates will be seated, how they would come and vote, and what the security agencies should be doing during this period.
Meanwhile, businesses are beginning to feel the impact well ahead of the Congress. Hotels have seen a sharp increase in bookings, and many can be seen sprucing up their facilities for the guests who will be coming to town.
People have already paid monies into our accounts because of these, this event, and some circumstances we had to, turn people down because we couldn't even take any calls again because of this program. We're trying to promote the African culture. That's in terms of the meals we will be serving. We have one type of meal, everybody, eats when he or she goes to the other. But this time around, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to promote our local diets.
The Tamalinat hostels will accommodate the media. It, however, does not have air conditioners and may not meet the expectations of some of the practitioners. Mohammed Hashmin's report from the Northern Region.
Meanwhile, a leading member of the NPP in Tamale, Thomas Henry Wadyong, has been retracing the party's roots in northern Ghana. He credits a group of Northerners who were trained at the then Achimota College during the colonial administration. He names Alhaji Imoru Ayana, Alhaji Yakubu Tali, Tolona, J.A. Brima, Imoru Salifu, Abaifa Kabo, among others.
Thomas Henry Wadyong said the group was introduced to the bad influence of the South as they were politically minded to form a political party that was known as the Northern People's Party in 1954.
But when the coup came and we had elections, general election in 1969, the UP organized itself to form the Progress Party. And out of the 30 seats for the North, Progress Party won 25. And the majority of them were the old hands. But the majority, so that means out of the 25, 21 were the old Northern People's Party metaphors to UP group. They won it. They came back to power in the form of Progress Party.
Adding that after the persecution of the Northern People's Party by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his CPP in 1957 after independence, some of its members moved to join the United Party, which metamorphosed to become the new Patriotic Party.
So if in 2000 we do not vote for NPP, what prevented us from voting for NPP in 2004? When we had our own brother was the vice president. And if you look at this thing, the development, at least for the 4 years, the knock on the NPP, for the 4 years, we have seen some developments. And so it is the perception that will change. If you look at Upper West region, voted 100% with Rawlings, and they voted saying that Rawlings gave them a region. So they will vote for NDC. So Upper West goes with NDC because they say NDC is Upper West is a baby of NDC. So that is what. But I think that you find that this year's elections, last year's elections, there has been a change in Northern region. Yeah. We had 8 seats. stretch. Then in Upper West, we lost it, but not in Upper East, we had about 4 seats. So it means that we have 12 seats as against
Well, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has pledged her country's support to help Ghana out of its economic challenges. At a meeting with President Mahama at the EU-Africa Summit, which due to a close Thursday, the German leader called for more intense cooperation between the two countries, especially in the areas of business and market-driven initiatives.
Angela Merkel is said to have described Ghana as a success story with an economy that is growing in a good way before offering her country's support to address Ghana's fiscal challenges. The German Chancellor extended an invitation to President John Mahama to undertake an official visit to Germany. President Mahama thanked her for the invitation and expressed much appreciation for Germany's invaluable contributions to Ghana's development through various forms of economic and technical assistance. In his capacity as the new chair of ECOWAS, President Mahama commended the German government for its sustained support and contribution to peacekeeping in Africa, including financial support for the construction and running of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center here in Ghana. On the EPA, President Mahama shared details about the ECOWAS Technical Committee comprising the ECOWAS chief negotiators and representatives of Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal, which has been set out to resolve any outstanding issues and concerns by some member states over the next 2 months. They also discussed the situation in Mali and the upcoming elections in Guinea-Bissau.
Well, still at the just-ended EU-Africa Summit, President Mahama held several other bilateral meetings with some leaders of countries that were present.
The bilateral discussions centered largely around President Mahama's new role as the chair of the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS, investment opportunities in Ghana, and the Economic Partnership Agreement between the EU and the ECOWAS. President Francois Hollande congratulated President Mahama on his election and pledged to lend a helping hand if asked in dealing with any crisis in the sub-region. President Mahama thanked the French leader for hosting the summit on African security last year and also for his government's valuable military and humanitarian interventions in Mali, Cote d'Ivoire and Central African Republic. President Mahama assured France and the international community that Ghana will continue to pursue a policy of good neighborliness with her neighboring countries. The two leaders also discussed Ghana's economic performance, investment opportunities on the sectors of energy, agriculture and urban development, as well as the EPA. Still on the margins on the 4th EU-Africa Summit, President Mahama held bilateral discussions with the Prime Minister of Finland, Jake Katainen, the Prime Minister of Estonia, Tavi Rauvas, and the Prime Minister of Spain, Mariano Rajoy, as well as British Foreign Secretary William Hague. They discussed economic growth, Africa, including the ECOWAS sub-region, and investment opportunities in Ghana.
Now, the joy of motherhood is without a doubt priceless, but not all mothers survive to experience this joy, often because of the lack of access to health facilities. In the following feature, Gifty and Repair highlights the contribution of a chief who doubles as a midwife, all in the bid to reduce maternal mortality in his area, a village called Mangotidike.
Mangotidike is located in the Agotime-Ziofe district of the Volta region. Childbirth in this place is a miraculous process. An 8-month-old pregnant Maufemo is about to experience it for the 3rd time. It is late noon on 30th December 2013. 23-year-old Maufemo is feeling the pain of labor. Ideally, she should be at the labor ward. But there is no health facility in Mangotidike. She will be delivered by Chief of the town, Togbi Bo Moses. He takes Maufemo through the procedure, administering his usual herbs as he waits for signs of the baby's arrival. Every mother in this village has gone through this to have their babies. As night fell, the baby finally arrived with the help of a little flashlight. This is Maupemo's third baby by this man, making his total deliveries 122 since he started in 1988. He tells me not a single baby has died on his hands. Maupemo is lucky. Her delivery was in a bathroom. Otherwise, this bare floor is where deliveries usually take place. They demonstrated how the floor and space are cordoned off with clothes during deliveries. With some training from a health center in neighboring Petoi, where he volunteered as an assistant, he shows me evidence that his work is under constant supervision from health authorities there. Tokwi tells me the village needs a structure in which he can perform this function as the situation gets terrible when it rains.
Because there is no shelter, we are always at the mercy of the weather. I need a shelter exactly where I work.
He's also seeking basic needs like hand gloves and disinfectants to help prevent the transfer of infections.
I need tools to work, like hand gloves, disinfectants. I especially need spirit to dress the wound after the umbilical cord is cut. I really need help.
Maupemo shows off her baby with pride after a week. She is convinced that the services she received here at the village will be her first choice to any hospital.
Tagwe is able to deliver us, so we only go to the hospital when it becomes very necessary.
She's not alone with this thought. Christy had her baby on the floor a few months before Maupemo and shares inner thoughts.
I have 6 children by him. I can confirm that Stogby has enough experience to handle any pregnancy. The only problem is that delivery is done in the open. I know in the hospitals you are delivered in a room.
They want their chief and midwife well-resourced. District Chief Executive of the Agotime-Ziofe traditional area, Michael Ajaho, promises some attention to the situation after emphasizing Mangotileke cannot have a health post because the number of people here falls below the threshold.
When I visited him, he was then using hand glove. But if the hand glove got spoiled, then what I would do is that I will make sure that Minister of Health steps in, supply him with hand glove, and then, you know, the bed floor to them. If we ask them to give them bed to them, they said no. If we realize what is doing, if it is telling the truth, the Ministry of Health will also have to come in before the assembly will get up. We are even educating them that they should do to the minimum. Yes, not fully, because it is not far.
In 2012, a special committee of Parliament on poverty reduction indicated the country might not achieve the MDG on reducing the maternal mortality rate of 185 to 100,000 live births by 2015. Traditional birth attendants like Togbe Moses remain indispensable in villages and towns all over Ghana. A little more capacity building and appropriate resourcing of these service providers promises a positive impact on reducing maternal mortality and achieving universal access to reproductive health. Like all others in Mangotileke, Chrissy and Maupemo expect to subsequently have their babies in a familiar but safer atmosphere.
She tells me that although what she's seen happen in the hospital is better than what happens here in the village during childbirth, she prefers to have her baby here in the village. For Joy News, Gifty and Repair, Mangotileke.
A very moving story by Gifty and Repair. And I'm sure the chief and the people of Mango T-Deke will be very happy. It's in the Agoti-Mekpetwe district of the Volta region, the upper part of the Volta region. I'm sure they'll be very, very happy about that. But especially when there's no medical facility in the community, it's really a difficult situation.
But to see that the people are doing something to help themselves, I mean, that's positive.
Well, it's positive, but it also shows just how lagging we are when it comes to the provision of such facilities. We hope that a lot more could be done for the community of Mango T-Deke. And that'll be it for now. A recap of our top stories, though. And over 1,000 security officers will be deployed within and outside the Tamale Sports Stadium, which is the venue for the NPP's National Delegates Congress to be convened next week Saturday. That's the 12th of April 2014.
Well, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has pledged her country's support to help Ghana out of its economic challenges, and this was in a meeting with our President John Mahama at the EU-Africa Summit, which ended yesterday.
And as you just saw in that story, we took you to the community, courtesy Gifty and Repair of Mango T-Deke. It's in the Agoti-Mekpetwe district of the Volta region, where a chief is doubling as a midwife for his own community.
Well, that's it for the AM News for now. We'll bring you highlights of the major news later on. Still on the AM show, we'll bring you sports after this. Is brought to you by Cowbell. Stay with us.
Well, until recently, Ghana's Premier League didn't have a sponsor. Now they have First Plus Capital Company, and the First Plus Capital Bank now gives opportunity to a lot more football clubs to earn something out of the effort they put in sponsoring their teams. And the corporate affairs manager of First Capital Plus, Nana Kesi, has been speaking to the sports team about the company's association with the Premier League.
And say that so far so good. We're happy. We're enjoying a whole range of goodwill from various stakeholders, especially from the media. And for some reason, I can say a lot of things are happening now. For example, look at today's session. You know, a lot of things are happening, and I might want to classify all of that as divine coincidence, because it looks as if there's this energy which is being brought back into the league. So I'm sure that with time, Ghana's Premier League will become Africa's topmost league. But there's a lot of work to be done. We are not disillusioned at all as to the quantum of work that has got to be done. But we can say that from where we sit, so far so good.
Well, let's look at this weekend's fixtures for the First Capital Plus Premier League. And we have Inter Allies hosting Hazakers. Amidan's Professionals will visit WA, and they will play WA All-Stars. Midiema SC will be playing host to King Faisal, same as Dwarfs hosting Ashanti Gold, and Adriana FC will be at home to Liberty Professional. Heart of Lions will travel all the way to Accra to play Hearts of Folk, and the Dubiasi FC will also be hosting Brecum Chelsea. Bechim United will be in Kumasi, and they will be playing Kumasi Asante Koto, the league leaders. Well, as you may have been following the news, as far as sports is concerned, the issue of the budget for the Black Stars for their participation in Brazil 2014 is always a subject of discussion. But more importantly, are the comments by journalists right as far as the expenditures on the line items are concerned? We have a member of the Executive Committee of the Ghana Football Association, George Efrie, who has been rubbishing reports that the intended budget, well, has been allocated in a way that officials will benefit more monetarily than the football players.
You see, this is blatant lie. There's no way, and I'm saying this on authority, and quote me. I'm repeating it, I'm saying it here, and quote me. There has never been a time where the FA president, let me even use the FA president, I will not even use a management member, let me use the FA president, has even received equally as what the player has even got. He only gets honorarium And mind you, sometimes when people talk about management members taking money, you have to ask yourself, is the General Secretary a member of the management team of the Black Stars? Is the emergency committee member like me a member of the management, the Black Stars? But remember, if there are honorarium, I enjoyed it. The General Secretary will enjoy it. The communication director will enjoy it. So if you go by your calculation of 7 people taking that money, how can one person get that amount? It's not possible. It is not possible.
Well, let's look at the squad. That's the Blaster squad for Brazil 2014, and whether the players who will or are likely to be selected are in good form. Well, Michael Essien and Suleiman Tari seem to be having some niggling injuries, as well as Majid Waris. We look at the injury situation in the Black Stars.
Ghana's 2014 World Cup campaign is being threatened by an injury crisis after AC Milan confirmed Michael Essien could be out for more than 2 weeks with a thigh problem. The 31-year-old joins a growing list of Black Stars players who are nursing various degrees of injuries, with just close to 8 weeks to the start of the global showpiece. Michael Essien replaced compatriot Suleiman Tari at halftime during AC Milan's 3-0 win over Chievo Verona over the weekend. However, the Italian Giants confirmed this afternoon that the former Chelsea midfielder suffered an injury at training and will undergo further tests in 10 days' time. The news will be a major source of worry for Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah, who is unhappy about the spate of injuries being picked up by some of his key players ahead of the World Cup. Suleiman Tari and in-form Abdul Majid Waris are all in the treatment room nursing various injuries, with long-term availability of defender Isaac Vosa unknown. Workaholic midfielder Rabiu Mohammed is struggling to return to action after an operation in the latest injury scare, which could wreck the side's campaign in Brazil. Ghana are drawn in a difficult group which includes USA, Germany and Portugal.
Well, yesterday, that is on Thursday, we had the matches for the Europa League first leg, and Juventus, the Italian league leaders and champions, they were able to win against Olympique Lyon at home. And after those matches in Europe midweek, all these teams will be joining the other ones back home as they continue those matches in their leagues. And we'll start with the fixtures in the English Premier League. And we have Manchester City hosting Southampton, Aston Villa against Fulham, Cardiff City, Crystal Palace, Hull City, Swansea, Manchester United, after that draw against the German champions Bayern Munich, will visit the home grounds of Newcastle United. West Brom will play against Norwich City, and Chelsea will be hosting Stoke City. It will prove to be a difficult match as always between those pair, and Everton will also be hosting Arsenal, and West Ham United Liverpool. Tottenham though will try again their luck against Sunderland. In Spain, we have Almeria playing against Osasuna. Villarreal visiting the home grounds of Atletico Madrid. Real Betis going through the Nou Camp to play against Barcelona, and Real Sociedad, Real Madrid, Rayo Vallecano, Celta Vigo, Malaga will play against Granada, and Getafe will play against Elche. The other fixtures we have are Sevilla against Espanyol, Real Valladolid against Valencia, and Levante against Atletico Bilbao. In Italy, this is how the pairings are. Chievo Verona will play against Hera Verona, and International will play against Bologna, and Sampdoria will visit the home grounds of Lazio. Sassuolo will also visit the home grounds of Atalanta, and Cagliari will be hosting AS Roma. Torino against Catania, Fiorentina against Udinese, Parma against the team that is having a resurgence after that very lumping form, Napoli, and Juventus, who won midweek against Lyon in the Europa League, playing against Livorno, and Genoa facing the 11th place team, former champions AC Milan. So that's it for sports. It's brought to you by Cabell.